Mic check. Microphone check. How's everybody doing out there on this beautiful Sunday in these strange times? I'm RealToughCandy. Got a little product placement here. Hot off the press. I did it all for the JavaScript mugs, now available in CandyScript, which is my Teespring store. We got t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and caffeine holders for your adventuring spirits. Not American spirit. Those are bad for you. Adventuring spirit. How are you guys doing? We're going to do a little microphone check. I got a fun, it's less fun and more morale boosting video. This isn't a goofy video, but it's a morale boosting video. Wanted to share a success story today for Oleg, who recently was on the channel. He stepped up, he put his portfolio on the chopping block, and as his portfolio states, there is an important update from a few days ago, from last week. Now, Paradoodly-Doo is our mod at large. She is rocking it. She's also learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript this weekend. She is a code newbie. Give it up, Paradoodly-Doo. So happy. Someone asked what materials I recommended for her. I recommended the Mark Myers books, but before that, I first recommended, there is a course on Educative, Intro to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that she's taken this weekend. How's that going, Paradoodly-Doo? I know you said you fell asleep in the chair when the sun came out. Like, is that an accurate assessment of what I interpreted, what you said? Was it that compelling? Let fellow developers know how your coding journey is going. Day 0. Really exciting to hear. How's everyone doing out there? Stylo816 rocking the War Eagle earrings. I sure am. I love these earrings. I don't get to wear them all that often because I have so many other... I just need to go off topic real quick. I love strange, interesting, funky earrings. Like, if I can get funky with one item, it's my earrings. I have earrings with little plastic goldfish in them that are plastic bags. I haven't worn the little county fair fish. I haven't worn those in a while. Oh, I just have so many great earrings. I need to get more piercings. Maybe I can wear more at the same time. Let's check in with the stream and see how you guys are doing. We have 32 people here already. Welcome, Stylo816. John Burks, how's it going? Mila Morris, hello, woohoo! Yeah, Jeff Grinley, go Paradoodly-Doo, indeed. Puneet, how's it going? Sarah's here. Sarah O's here. I got the Mark Myers, A Smarter Way to Learn Python. Great book so far. Mark's Oxen. Open opportunities is something you write on a Tinder profile. No. I mean, it's multiple purpose. It's multiple purpose, that phrase. Vlaslow's here. Vlaslow, he says, great for all these live streams. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to do one a day until we flatten the curve here in the States. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't want to get burnt out, but I'm riding the wave right now. I feel energy. I feel more connected to my viewers, and I can take more questions directly, you know, in real time rather than producing videos. And I want to produce videos, like pre-recorded videos, because I have a new camera, I have a new lens. It looks professional. Now, I don't expect the camera to change everything on the channel, but it takes okay channels and just puts them up one notch. It takes good channels and takes them up a notch. Like, the production values on this channel, I'm just waiting to unleash, but I've been doing all these lives. But these are super fun and I love doing them. So for the next, I don't know if this is going to go for an hour, probably like 45 minutes. We'll probably go to 5:30, maybe even less. We'll go through Oleg's status update and then maybe take some questions from you guys, you developers out there. What does Paradoodly-Doo say about learning this stuff? So she's taking courses on Educative. Look at that. Paradoodly-Doo's an excellent mod. She shared the Educative link, and I am an affiliate, so if you sign up for something on Educative, I might get a few bucks. I may or may not. But good job, Paradoodly-Doo. Way to do your job. Paradoodly says, it's awesome. I thought it was going to be way easier, so I'm moving very slowly. 3 hours in and plugging away. Okay, and you're still doing the intro to HTML stuff. Just so exciting. So great. Ben Riley with the super chat. As a Pythonista, JavaScript is a pain in my behind. No doubt. Ben, I hear you. I feel you on that. Python was my language after JavaScript. I'm thinking, was it my second language? I was trying to learn all kinds of different languages at the same time. I took every misstep you could take as a code newbie. I was trying to learn different languages at once. I was trying to take different courses. I taught the same thing at once. I was abandoning languages after 2 weeks of trying to learn them. So I don't know technically if you would call Python my second language, but it came after JavaScript. And it was just like, geez, I wish all languages were this silky, were this smooth, were this semantic, were this, I don't know if I would say semantic, but this just nice to work with. Also, too, I need to give a shout out to my sister. My sister is also in quarantine right now, self-quarantine. She sent me this from afar. It is hand sanitizer for the new age. This is homemade hand sanitizer, including panic button oil. So not only does it sanitize, it brings a sense of zen upon inhalation. Oh, thanks so much, sis. Maybe you're in the chat today. I don't know. Caution, product will squirt when squeezed. I appreciate that disclaimer. We'll go to the chat here, see what you guys are up to, and then we're gonna I'm gonna show you guys Oleg's update. Let me go over here. I need to take a little swig. I need to simmer down. My blood pressure is way up. Ben Riley says, automate the boring stuff is good. Agreed. That's a No Starch Press book. No Starch Press is my favorite tech publisher. It's a No Starch, O'Reilly, and Pact in that order. I don't think you can go wrong with any No Starch Press book. They're all good. Pratik says JavaScript is different and a bit difficult to learn compared to other languages like Java, Python, C#, and C++. Sarah says, I think JavaScript is a pain in most behind. Rawa Pool, come on guys, 41 people watching this stream. Like this stream. Yes. Wim Van Leuven made it to an RTC live. Hello, Wim. Great to see everyone here. Yes. If you are tuning in and enjoying or somewhat tolerating this live stream, please hit a button. It tells YouTube that my content is worthy for sharing, and it helps me make more quality content for you guys, more engaging content, and I can focus more on this kind of stuff. All it takes is a like, a comment, or if you want, we have super chats enabled. We also have super stickers enabled. We already got a super chat today from Ben Riley. Dang, Ben Riley with the double super chat. JavaScript was basically built in 11 days, and it shows. Right. And not to get too far off topic here with this topic of this video, but JavaScript was hastily written, and it does show. I mean, I can't really add on his comment there. It's very well said. In early, I don't know if you'd call him the Godfather, Douglas Crockford wrote a book called JavaScript, The Good Parts. And if that doesn't, the book is not that long. The book is not that thick. So that really, really summarizes the status of JavaScript. I mean, ooh, this hand sanitizer smells so awesome. I'm just going to legally huff this while we go over this portfolio. No doubt, there's a lot of gotchas in JavaScript, and it's not, like I said, going to Python and then exploring Ruby too. Python and Ruby are just so smooth. They're so silky. They're so almost malleable. Whereas JavaScript I find to be very brittle. And we use that term, code being brittle in different contexts, but I just mean it's almost like a metaphysical thing or something. I feel like it's very delicate. And I just don't feel that way when I'm working with Python. It feels more natural to me. And that's an interesting observation I picked up in that Yes, there are ways we can objectively measure languages, but it also comes down to the person too. Like, how much do they actually enjoy these different languages? Some people love CSS. Other people are like, dude, CSS is the worst. I feel both of those things on different days, depending on how much stuff is breaking and how much, how many sheets I'm actually dealing with. Some days I'm like, CSS is the greatest thing ever invented. Other days I'm like, CSS is the worst thing ever invented. CSS, I'll use CSS as much as possible if it means not using JavaScript. And there are so many things you can do with CSS that you could only do with JavaScript at one time. There are, it's like manipulating different things. Oh, this is just amazing. Guys, I think my sister needs to quit her job and just make these things full time for people and send them to people in need. Just open a phone book or something. Do they even still print phone books? Just open a phone book and send them to random people. Thanks, sis. Oleg. Paradoodly-doo, drop that link. Last month, I reviewed Oleg's portfolio. He's a member of the RTC Discord. And he put his portfolio in the review my portfolio section, and I got a chance to look at it. No, unfortunately, I cannot dedicate all the time I want to every portfolio dropped. But it was just kind of a serendipitous moment where I just clicked on it, and I saw this portfolio. And there were so many things that I was impressed with, but I also saw opportunities for improvement. And I said, Oleg, what do you think of me doing a video review or video critique on the channel of your portfolio? He said, I'm all about it. All right. So I did. So if you don't remember Oleg, or if you're new to the channel, Paradoodle is going to pop that link in. She's going to pop the link to the original critique. Now, he's changed a lot of things on here. This is his landing page. It pretty much looks the same as when I critiqued it. His photo, his title, his introduction. So I'm not going to go over everything. But as I noted in the original assessment of this portfolio, having a photo is controversial because you're going to get judged no matter what. It's a risky move because you're going to get judged. People are judgy. Every one of us. Even with the implicit, unconscious bias training or whatever, people still judge. That was a hand fart, by the way, I promise. RealToughCandy, blasting them out live. I like that he had a photo because it reminds me that this portfolio was created by a human. So I like them, but it's a personal preference. You can include a photo, you don't have to. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to say, I'm not feeling it. So it is a very personal decision to include the photo. But for me, I liked it because I associated this portfolio with a person. So the other thing that popped out to me was that this is a bilingual site. English is his second or third or fourth language, but this portfolio reads like a native English speaker for the most part. And what I find is that people who learn English as a second language, generally speaking, know English better than native English speakers, especially when it comes to writing. Subject-verb agreement, they are very good with the language because they were actually taught it. Whereas native English speakers, we just pick it up. We're pretty lazy with how we speak. And sometimes that can bleed into our writing. But this was it was written very good, very well. His philosophy, languages, programming languages, what he's developed up until now, all this stuff I found to be very readable without being clinical. And so there were just so many things that I did enjoy about this portfolio. Now let's go to the update. Important update, March 22nd, 2020. Oh, and I just want to show off this Russian language feature right here. Isn't that, look at it, and it just, it's so clean. He plays guitar. It's cool. This is a cool portfolio. Let's go to the update, and then we'll show a few more features of this portfolio and what I really like about it. What has happened since I published this site? Too long, didn't read. This website got reviewed by an awesome American YouTuber. My hard drive failed. I got a job offer. I relocated, and I've been working for 2.5 weeks. So I reviewed his portfolio. He joined the Discord. I asked to review it. And giving me a shout out. Oleg, thank you so much for the shout out. This live stream is not to give myself a pat on the back. I can do that on my own time. I do it plenty on my own time. So don't worry. I'm not just trying to self-promote here. I mean, in some ways, yes, I'm doing a live stream so people will watch, but I'm also genuinely happy for you. And I also want to explain the purpose behind these portfolio reviews. So we'll get to that in a minute. So he said it actually did help. The portfolio review did help. The most noticeable outcome was a difference in attitude I observed from HR and recruiters I talked to afterward. I included the link and some explanation in my initial message to them. I felt that they were impressed and treated me with more interest because of it. Now, after this, or simultaneously, when he got this thing reviewed and he's working on his changes, his hard drive failed. He wasn't able to boot his laptop. As he says here, as you can imagine, it really threw a wrench into my plans and job-seeking activities. It's also the reason I was slow to publicly react to RCT's video review. No worries. No worries, no worries, no worries. I was also scared of losing my personal precious data, which I had accumulated over the years. Ooh, he waited for the experts to perform a miracle, but they didn't. Then it was my turn to try, and whew, luckily I could. R Linux was the software which saved the day. Pro tip, R Linux, y'all. By memento mori, he means do backups. The hard drive physically failed after less than 3 years of service, so I bought a new one to replace it. It's larger and faster, so yay. This, I think if there are any takeaways on this page, it's to back up and have a copy of something somewhere. It can be on a thumb drive, it can be on the cloud, it can be on a different computer, just somewhere that's a secondary location, because things can fail at any moment. And putting all that work in, it happens all the time. It happens every day. And we think, it's one of those things where like, yeah, it'll never happen to me. Like, you know, a power line falling on you, just walking the dog, yeah, it'll never happen to me. It might. And it's far more likely you're going to have a hard drive failure or some other critical failure where you're not going to be able to access the things you've been working on for months. It's totally dejecting, and it might even turn you off to this career field. Can you imagine working for 4 or 5 months and not having your portfolio anywhere else? Like every night working on it and just all of a sudden it's gone. Be like, oh, I don't even have the energy to start again. So backups, even everyone has a Gmail account, right? Like most of us have a Gmail account. Even if you don't, even Hotmail, MSN, or whatever they call themselves now, Outlook, I think they have a free personal, like 1 or 2 gigabyte or gigabit, I'm not sure which one, tier where you can, for free, where you can drop things. Just set it somewhere. Set a backup somewhere else besides your computer. So now he's getting into the interviewing despite the above. The process had been set in motion, so I had to follow up despite the lack of proper means. I've largely used my phone to keep doing interview calls and manage correspondence. Then when I needed to do a coding task, I asked a friend to use her computer. Can we time out here? Read this narrative. Does this sound like a guy who quits? Does it sound like a guy who gives up? Does it sound like a guy who's going to lock himself in the attic for months and feel bad about his life? Those are all things that are not going to get you the job. The big reason, reading this, why Oleg got the job, it wasn't because of my portfolio review. It's because he doesn't give up. He doesn't quit. And when something happens, it's clear he feels dejected. Or if it's clear he feels nervous about some of these things, but it didn't make him stop. And he kept going. When he needed to do a coding task, he called a friend to use her computer. he is problem solving. He is forcing his way through this adversity so he can get a job and he can succeed in software development. That's the big takeaway with all of this. Because if you quit, and you quit forever, you're never going to have a chance to succeed. You're never going to get the job. You're never even going to get the interview. You're not even going to get the email confirmation that you applied to the job. Oleg had the inner strength to keep going despite a failing hard drive, having to use a friend's computer, and using his phone to do interview calls and manage correspondence. He adapted to the problem and he overcame the issue. So here we go. A company came along who agreed to do all of the assessments and interview steps remotely without requiring me to come to their office on the other side of the country. I work for them now. Oleg got a job. Relocating was a big deal. Here's Oleg with a selfie doing the thing at his new dev job, packing all of his worldly possessions into just 3 containers he could carry by himself, leaving the familiar places and people, embracing uncertainty, choosing an apartment to live in a hurry, settling in, going into work for the first time. I will remember all of this and smile when I do. This guy's got serious attitude. This is an attitude. His attitude is what gets him through, and his inner strength to push through these adversities. So far, it's been going real well at work and otherwise. I've been quite successful at the tasks that were assigned to me. I'm enjoying the new city, meeting new friends. Of course, much of this goodness is threatened by the you-know-what, but this too shall pass. We are strong and resilient. We will persevere. And then finally, he says, well, next to finally, it's hard to get a job as a junior developer without prior experience. Indeed. It actually is. There's nothing wrong with you if you're struggling. The surest way to succeed is to try one more time, recursively. So keep at it. Is totally worth it. It felt good when I was finally able to do this in my LinkedIn. JavaScript developer, code and care full-time, March 2020, in the Ukraine, getting work done at the office. So what happens to this site now? What happens to this portfolio? It will be a sort of museum. I expect the next time I am job seeking, too much would need to be updated, so I may as well make a new site, but this will be preserved. I've made some of the tweaks RTC recommended, but I still have no clue what to do about styling, for example. In summary, I am no longer job seeking for the foreseeable future, but I'll be happy to connect with anyone who would like to. Just hit the contacts page. See you there. This is the feel-good story of 2020 in my life. I played a small role in this. My bigger joy is that a junior developer got past the hurdles and landed a job. And you know what? He's saying you can do it too. I love these type of stories. I absolutely live for these types of stories because everyone gets to that point. Most of us get to that point where we do ask ourselves, is this even worth it? This crap is so dumb. How many people haven't said that? I want to interview you and have you on the channel. How many people had just a flawless developer experience when you were learning the basics and intermediate stuff? I want to talk with you and have you on the channel because everyone I've met, they have that moment where it's like, is this even worth it? Is it even worth the struggle? It's more comfortable living in a so-so situation or even a bad situation than making the changes that Oleg did. He moved to a new city. He's making new friends. He started a new job. He didn't have a freaking computer even to claim. And our jobs are thoroughly computer-based. Just so great to hear. And I'm so happy for you, Oleg, if you're watching this. Thank you for the shout out. I'm so happy to just be a little part of your coding journey. You've done a lot of stuff, and I know you're going to continue to do some great stuff at your new job. You have some cool personal projects, CSS landing pages. This is the other thing that I loved about his portfolio. He had a human resources FAQ. So of course, recruiters, being recruiters, aren't going to read any of this. But in the off chance one of them stumbles on this page, I thought this was a great idea. Basic stats. Name, gender, DOB, current age, nationality, citizenship, current location. I thought this was great. It's a narrative, but it's also really engaging. What would make you quit a job? Hostility from colleagues, unfriendly environment. Emotional comfort in the long run is important to me. I will always strive to have friendly interactions and find understanding with my colleagues. If I'm rejected or not appreciated, I will consider changing jobs. That transparency to me is so refreshing. I love this. I love the honesty. What a lot of us do, and I'm not excluding myself, this is me too. Like, you know, you're new to something, and sometimes you get desperate. You're like, I'll take any dev job. I don't care. You end up taking that dev job, and it's not a good match. And it's just like, what was I thinking? Oleg came in with some standards. And he's just telling you straight up, if your colleagues are lame, if your colleagues are hostile, if the environment sucks, or people aren't being supported, I'm out. And he's setting his worth. He is defining his worth in this FAQ section, and I just think that's such a great technique. It's interesting. It's interesting. And I do wonder how many people did see that. And even if they didn't, even if he didn't publish this, he came in with a set of standards. If the workplace is unfriendly or people are hostile, I'm not working for your company. Some people won't accept big flaws in a company because they just want to work there. Oleg said, you know what? Guess what? I have standards. Can you come to our office for an interview? I mean, he just lays it all out. He just lays it all out. He's accommodating to people, but he's also telling people that he has his limits, and he's not going to get exploited at one of these jobs. And I just thought this section was so great. He put in a contact form. This was one of the things that he added after the initial review. Contact form. I think this is one of my videos, the 4+ hour-long video of portfolio reviews. Paradoodly do. Now this, I did a live stream like 2 months ago, 4 hours of 32+ portfolio reviews. I couldn't do a live stream for like, I don't know. I wish I could say years. It felt like years. But after that 4-hour live stream, I was like, OMG, I need a recovery. Like, and it's going to be more than just Gatorade. I need to center myself. That was a crazy live stream, but it was really fun. I did it all for a JavaScript, available on Teespring. What is it? Teespring.com/CandyScript. Paradoodly do. Pop that link in too. Actually, don't pop that link in. I should, beneath this video, I have some of my merch. Various designs for the discriminating software developer. And also some things about how he built this site. This is how the site was made. So, what's the other lesson in this? No matter where you are with your portfolio, if you're just starting out, if you've gone over it a million times, have somebody else take a look at it. It doesn't have to be me. It can be a peer. It can be someone that you meet at a meetup or other social event. It can be in someone's Discord. It doesn't have to be my Discord. It can be a group of people. Have someone else or other people take a look at your portfolio, because there's going to be stuff that you miss. We get our blinders on and our eyes turn swirly when we're working on these projects. And one of the most powerful things is having someone give you that feedback. Not all feedback is going to be valuable. There are some people who are just going to say, yeah, I enjoyed the portfolio. You know, you shouldn't hate that person. That isn't like, well, I'm never talking to them, my God. Just put it in the not helpful bin. You know, this person meant well. They just didn't have anything constructive to say. The other thing you can do is kind of reframe their thinking. Sometimes they'll review something and say, you know, I don't like this. So egg them on and try and get that information out. What don't you like about this? What would make your experience more efficient? What would make your experience more pleasant? That's probably a better word if you're working with people who aren't necessarily in the tech field. Just ask them what would make a better experience for you. And then that way you can get actionable advice rather than people just saying, you know what, this was good, this wasn't good. I've seen people even on YouTube say, get rid of this, do that, without any rationale. And so that's where I kind of try and differentiate myself with the portfolio reviews, because every critique I do have reasoning behind it. This is stuff that relates to UX UI. It relates to hiring managers. It relates to senior developers and mid-level, whoever's looking at your portfolio to assess it. I've hired people personally. I currently have a 40-hour-a-week full-time contractor. I've also hired people in the past for just one-time jobs. And I'm looking at them as a candidate, and I'm assessing this stuff as well. If I'm looking at their contact page and I have to copy and paste their email into my email service of choice, which is usually Gmail. I do have a mail client, but I prefer Gmail for a lot of things. That, to me, that takes a one-step process, and now it's turning it into a 4-step process for me. So that's not a good user experience, and I'm not annoyed, but I'm kind of getting there. And it's these little things. That's the other point too. It's these little things, these things that are going to make you marginally better than the other candidate. That's all it takes. If you are head to head with a candidate with your same skill set, same demographics, same everything, your clone applies to the same developer job you're applying to, and you have a contact form and they don't, you went one notch above your clone. You're marginally better than your clone, and you are therefore the better candidate. And so these small things make a big difference. It can be a make and break. Maybe not ostensibly, not on the outside, but these things do matter. All of these things do matter. Let's go to the comments here. Again, shout out and big ups to Oleg. I am so excited for this guy. It's so empowering. Getting a job in development is so empowering. This guy is getting paid. He's doing something that he likes. It's not a dead-end career field. Let's see what people are saying in the live. Ben Riley with the super chat. We'll get to this in a second. Sarah says, love the FAQ. That is a great idea, creative and different. Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Craig's here. Sorry, I'm late. Been at work, says Craig. Himanshu Batra says, why not develop something that will change the world? Well, I love that idea. And we all should be trying to change the world, I think, right? In our little ways. We all do change the world in little ways. But the way we change it doesn't necessarily have to be earth-shattering. Everything we do changes the world. Just depends on what direction you want to take it. The other thing I will mention about this, the critiques that I do are largely based on what I talk about in my best-selling book and course, How to Get a Job in Web Development. If you want to up your game with your portfolio, your resume, your cover letter, and even your GitHub, it is filled with practical, actionable steps. There is no filler in either of these materials. As a developer, I am completely self-taught. I understand what most people are going through this journey. That said, there are some things where I was learning and I didn't have the resource for it. And when I couldn't find the resource, I thought about making one. And How to Get a Job in Web Development is a result of not having that resource when I needed it. I didn't need to go over 10 hours of Leet Wars, Code Wars and Leet Code. I didn't need to do a black belt code kata to get where I needed to be. I needed practical, actionable stuff, and I had to learn that on my own and do it on my own. And I took all of that and I condensed it into my book and my course. It's 5 stars across the board on Amazon. It was at one time, a couple weeks ago, it was a 5-star on Udemy, which is very hard to do. So thanks everybody. And Brad Traversy, yes, that Brad Traversy, take a look at the feedback on the Udemy course. Brad Traversy gave it 5 stars of Traversy Media. That was a career highlight for me. He didn't take the course because he needed to get a job. He was just showing support, and that was just, so awesome. Everyone knows Traversy Media. Everyone loves the guy. His channel has helped so many people, and getting that validation was very humbling and very exciting. So if you're struggling with your portfolio or anything else related to the application process, check out that course and book. It won't break the bank, even though I should have charged 10 times that much, just because the information is so valuable and what I'm showing you is so valuable. But consider it Consider it steeply discounted. Let's go back to these. Wim van Leuven, how long did it take him to learn that entire list? I don't know. Ben Riley says Python was basically made to be internally and logically consistent. JavaScript was made to be on the fly. I may work with CF at work though, or I may mainly work with CF at work though. Motakoma blessed. You're back again. This is Motakuma's third day on the live stream. Good to see you. I looked at the PDF of You Don't Know JavaScript, and I can say it's pretty easy to understand, but I still prefer Python as my first language. No doubt. You Don't Know JavaScript. You Don't Know JavaScript is a series of books by Kyle Simpson. He's a red-beard dude. He's been in JavaScript for a long time. The books are paperback. I have a few of the paperback ones. The other ones I've read online. They're just very small. They're very small, but he talks about kind of a mishmash of everything. JavaScript, like the weird parts, JavaScript, the good parts. Yeah, they're a solid set of books. They're a solid set of books. There's Up and Going. There's Async. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. Let's see. What else? GitHub and Netlify for the win. Sammy Turner! Sammy's here. Hi, Sammy. Shad Smith, hello. I liked the video you made with my question a while back. Shad, which video was that? Craig says, this guy uses Vim. He is brave. Yeah, no doubt. Vim and Vi, like, one of the funniest things when you're first using Vim or Vi is exiting. Hello! Like, you can break so many things just trying to get out of that program. It's so funny. I've met a few people who use Vim, who swear by it. They're old schoolers. They're the Linux guys from back in the day. The people I do know who use Vim and Vi. Some new schoolers, not a lot. And it's easy to see why, because it is, I mean, it's actually a skill. Once you master it or even get a little bit of a feel for it, it's just like, it's a totally different world. I haven't spent so much time using Vim or Vi. Sometimes I do when I'm editing a file in the terminal. By the way, if you guys haven't, whoa. I have this thing called Cool Retro Term for my Mac. It is so cool, so much more cooler than my terminal. I feel like I'm in a game of Fallout or something, or Cyberpunk 2077. How many people are in joyous anticipation of the Cyberpunk game coming out? Like, when does it come out? I don't even know. All I see are little snippets here and there. I've seen previews, and I love the Cyberpunk aesthetic. It is so rad. It is so funky. Ben with the super chat. Where's Ben? Where's Ben's question? Thoughts on CoffeeScript and CF Lucy? I have to work with the latter. Honestly, Ben, I'm going to be totally transparent here. I thought CoffeeScript was dead. So with that assumption, I haven't really worked with it. And I have to be even more honest. What is CF Lucy? Lucy is an open source software that implements a lightweight, dynamically typed scripting language for JVM, facilitating the rapid development of web apps that compile to Java bytecode. Terra Tech asked this question in 2018. Is Lucy CFML now better than Adobe Cold Fusion? Okay, so I would say if you're using Lucy instead of Cold Fusion, Adobe Cold Fusion, I think you're going to be just fine. What are you using CoffeeScript for, if I could ask, if you're able to share? I thought CoffeeScript, so this is just a quick side story. My first tech conference, I went to like a breakout group on CoffeeScript. That was in what year is it, 2020? It was in 2017. And I think that was really when people were getting excited about it, but I just don't see it a lot. And I wish I did, because at the time when I went to the workshop, it seemed cool. CavaScript is a little language that compiles into JavaScript underneath the awkward Java-esque patina. They couldn't have said it better. Awkward Java-esque patina. The first language I ever tried learning was Java, and it was a mass failure. Number one, because I was a code newbie. I don't think Java is the greatest language for code newbies. And number two, I was using a Coursera course. Enough said. CavaScript is a little language that compiles into JavaScript underneath the awkward Java-esque patina. However, JavaScript has always had a gorgeous heart. CoffeeScript is an attempt to expose the good parts of JavaScript in a simple way. Like, the idea of CoffeeScript is awesome. And I love the way they sell it. I love the way they present it. I think this is a really good summation of what CoffeeScript is trying to do. The golden rule of CoffeeScript, it's just JavaScript. The code compiles one-to-one into the equivalent JavaScript, and there is no interpretation at runtime. You can use existing JavaScript library. You can use any existing JavaScript library seamlessly from CoffeeScript and vice versa. The compiled output is readable, pretty printed, and tends to run as fast or faster than the equivalent handwritten JavaScript. I mean, it is cool. CoffeeScript 2, when was the last update for this stuff? The biggest change in CoffeeScript 2 is now the CoffeeScript compiler produces modern JavaScript syntax, ES6 and later, fat arrow functions, etc., compatibility. Interesting. And I do wonder, like, what is the usage right now, and what is like the active development stats on CoffeeScript? So I'm sorry I couldn't add more to my thoughts on CoffeeScript and CF Lucy. I have to work with the latter. CF Lucy with the, what were they saying? The JavaScript virtual machine? Let's see what this is. A lightweight dynamic scripting language for the JVM that enables the rapid develop. They certainly need to work on their front-end skills. A lightweight dynamic scripting language for the JVM that enables the rapid development of simple to highly sophisticated web applications. Interesting. This is interesting. This is a new one for me. Who is using Lucy? NASA, Scientific American, Australian Olympic Committee. This is an interesting lineup here. Switzerland Tourism. I mean, do you need any? They could just put this here and just say, you know what? Mic drop. The Switzerland Tourism. MySwitzerland.com uses Lucy. Do we really need to say anything more? I'm gonna have to look at this a little more. Maybe get back to you in the next live stream. This is yeah. I don't want to embarrass myself giving opinions when I haven't really looked at anything. Ben Riley with the super chat again. Somebody give this guy a cookie. Ben Riley says, work for me. Work has me use CF proprietary, not Lucy, even though I like Lucy more. Computer science was just, or CS was just a random thought. I think TypeScript will replace JavaScript though. You know what? That is something, TypeScript is something that I can chime in on. I think TypeScript is going to save JavaScript. And if you absolutely find JavaScript to be, maybe not even absolutely, but if you want a more standardized experience, try out TypeScript. Now, I'm not saying, if you're a code newbie, I wouldn't say drop everything and use TypeScript, but it is cleaner, it makes more sense, and it takes out some of these slippery parts that JavaScript has. It's just more, here I am going with these comparisons that I just like see in my mind. I see JavaScript as like these water balloons, and I see TypeScript as something that can actually support some weight. I see TypeScript as something more sustainable. I see it as something that is well designed and well thought out, or at least the concept is well thought out. And it makes sense. Let's go to TypeScript official page. So TypeScript brings you optional static type checking along with the latest ECMAScript features. If you're new to JavaScript, like I said, don't worry about type. I wouldn't lose sleep over TypeScript, but it is a great skill to have, and it does open up some doors as far as jobs. Apparently, Angular is very popular with TypeScript as well. TypeScript Framework, Angular, Express.js, Wakanda. That's kind of funny. Cool. But yeah, I think TypeScript is great. Paradoodly do. Is it raining here? Oh no, it's just Ben Riley. It sure is. Really appreciate those super chats, my friend. Thanks for the great questions, and thanks for tuning in. Ben Riley says, I like TypeScript way more. Yeah, no doubt. I think TypeScript's the way to go. I've talked to JavaScript developers who don't like the language, but they've been either ushered into the job position where they're forced to use it, or just, are just like kind of in that state where they don't like it, but they're not motivated to learn another language and like seek a different job or whatever, or different position or a different type of work. They can't say enough great things about TypeScript because it is that big of a difference. Yeah, and if you guys want to know more about it, I really don't know any good resources as far as learning it. I kind of just picked it up on the job when I was in enterprise, and I use it here and there nowadays. It's deserving of the hype, IMHO. The great addition to the modern JavaScript ecosystem. George Meehan, how's it going? George is one of my original members. He's not only an old schooler, as far as this channel goes, he's been a part of this channel forever, but he also beta tested my courses and my books. Like, George Meehan deserves a major honorary piece of candy next to his name. He's helped me so much with the beta testing. Awesome. Just a great dude to have in my corner. So thanks, George, for all your support with that and help with the books and videos. Matacoma Bless says, I guess I learned TypeScript for React development. There you go. Brandon Winger Air says, I've seen JavaScript and Node jobs also requiring or wanting Java as well. Would they be used in the same project or together in any way? I've seen some very interesting, it really depends on your employer. Some of these places are really, how do you say, and how do I say, you're going to come across some code bases in your career where you're going to say WTF. Like, you're going to get the deer in the headlights look and wonder how this is even running, how this is even possible. When I was in enterprise, excuse me, I have to sniff my no hand sanitizer. My sister made this for me. If you're just tuning in, she put in panic button oil, which is a essential oil blend, and it just is an immediate reminder of what I love about breathing. Yum. You might see languages, you might see practices, you might see different coding paradigms all on one sheet, all on one file. When I was in enterprise development, and I talk about this in my book, what's the name of my book? It's like, come on, I wrote the book. A Journey from Zero to One, Real Tough Software. So Real Tough Software is basically sharing my story, sharing some insider views of my time in enterprise, how I got started with coding, like my routines, my background. I'm not from a programming background. I'm completely self-taught, and how I got into enterprise development. And when I shared this in the book, Paradoodle, if you could share that link, Real Tough Software. Thanks for all the great reviews, by the way. That book, I go into detail about some of the dysfunction I experienced at my workplace. Now, if I was like Oleg, the guy whose portfolio we just checked out, and had some standards and had ways where I could prepare, thought of ways and implemented those ways where I could prepare more to grill the company more, and I did do my due diligence, I thought. But looking back, there were some things that I think I did have some blinders on, and I looked past, at least after I got into the job position. Now, when I was interviewing, nothing really looked that dysfunctional to me. But after a few weeks, things were becoming more and more apparent that this was just a house of cards ready to tumble at any given moment, both with the company and with the code bases. These projects, so I worked at an IBM partner company, and we were working on the AS400. Our server was the AS400. The AS400 is an awesome mid-level server. Don't get me wrong. It's a solid server. It's hard to hack, or it's not hard to hack, but a lot of people aren't hacking it just because it is not used all that much. Even though in Fortune 500 companies, a lot of these companies are using an AS400, but for the most part, it's not on a lot of people's radars. So it's not on that vector or whatever. But using the AS400 to do web development is difficult. It was especially difficult with our implementation of it. It's a custom OS. The company had created its own proprietary software we were running. And so what I'm getting at, you had asked about, will the code base include Java? Will it also include JavaScript? Anything's possible. That's what I'm trying to say. Anything's possible. So if you're concerned about that, I would ask at the interview or do a follow-up. Don't fuss with human resources with that question. Ask a senior developer at that company. They'll probably tell you the truth. Hopefully they'll tell you the truth. And that's a personal decision that you have to assess. Is it worth it? If I were more choosy, I was just excited to get into the industry. I was excited that someone had picked me. You know what I mean? It's already hard enough for junior developers getting a job. So when a company does show interest in you, you're like, yes! Maybe not doing as much due diligence as you should have. Now, I thought I was pretty careful with that stuff. I am a skeptical. I do like to approach situations with a bit of skepticism, but I was also very excited. So, like I said, looking back, probably could have asked a little more. Would I have still taken the job? Probably. I learned so much at that job. Half of the learning process was dealing with the dysfunction. Let's go to the comments. Let's go to these comments. George says, you did all the hard work. I mean, I did most of the work. But just going, kind of comparing it to these portfolios, it's the difference between a yes and a no. There are a lot of things you pointed out in my courses and my books that I was just like, oh, that's a great point. I'll change that. And it just made it that much better. So you're the MVP, my friend. Seriously, thank you for that. Thank you for your beta testing. Rizwan Atta has a good suggestion here. Please do a video on how Microsoft is taking our stuff like GitHub, NPM, and TypeScript. That's a good idea. We talked about this the other day briefly in one of the lives. We talked about how Microsoft did acquire GitHub some months ago. Was it last year? And now a couple weeks ago, very recently, at least, GitHub acquired NPM. So now, technically, Microsoft owns NPM. I personally am excited. I think this is a good move. I don't see it as a hostile takeover or anything. Microsoft has really upped its game, and it's really been starting to come correct as far as web developer tools and resources and support that can actually help us. Now, 15 or 20 years ago, Microsoft was enemy of the open source people #1. But that has changed. That has changed a lot. Now we have stuff like WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux on Windows 10, which is really cool. We have the Windows Terminal. I think that's what it's called. They're coming out with a terminal if they haven't already. If it's not they had the beta release. I don't know if it's stable yet. We also have Visual Studio Code. That's a Microsoft product. We have free courses on the Microsoft Docs page, even a 1-hour intro to Python, which I talk about, by the way, in this article, 101 places to learn to code for free. Now, some of us were exploring this career field, and free resources are so wonderful to use if you're just trying to discern if this is a career you want to pursue. Paradoodly, pop that link in, 101 places to learn to code for free. My new hire and I spent 4 days working on this together, signing up for these platforms that I've never heard of. Most of the ones I listed I've heard of and tried. So that was the somewhat easy part, but it was also going through, getting some appropriate screenshots, doing some tests, seeing that these things were updated, tossing some platforms that just weren't up to snuff. But for this list, we did work hard on it to provide free resources. Also, there's a little candy piece next to the resources that I particularly am a fan of. So if you're new or you're just trying to expand your resources, check out that article. Sarah says, I think part of a first job is about learning. That's a great point. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And it's the reason why new hires, unless you're in like the Bay Area or New York City or something, that 6-figure income is something we all dream of the first year, but you have to have a compelling reason to pay someone 6 figures. And unless you're a 1%er, a 1% developer, top tier, that 6 figures might be your second or third year. It's eventually, it's attainable for everyone who puts their mind to it. I know it sounds trite, but if you make it a goal and you put your mind to it, you can achieve that. But your first year salary, it's probably not going to be 6 figures. There are exceptions. But the reason that is because that first year, you're still learning. It's almost like a modified internship that first year. You're learning all these processes. You've been doing this stuff alone. Whether you're self-taught, even coding boot camps, you go to college, get a computer science degree, and then go on to a coding boot camp or do self-taught. Because 4-year computer science grads aren't job ready either. I hate to break it to them as well, but they're doing a lot of self-taught stuff too. Many computer science grads go on to coding boot camps. And that's where they have the leg up because they already know the data structures and algorithms, or at least a few of them. They've probably taken a course on Java. If not, they've taken a course or two on Python in college. So that stuff is just, they've trained. They've trained in college. They prepped for that. So everyone's self-taught in some sense. Even people who go to fancy colleges and stuff. And that education is super powerful. Some people say college is worthless. I think some majors, if we're talking about job ready and material relevant, I think a lot of majors are absolutely worthless. I think there needs to be more transparency with these educational hubs and these, whether it's a state school, state university, a private school, private university, private college. There needs to be more job statistics. No, these are not tech schools necessarily, but most people are going to college because they want that education to be job ready in some sense. Now with a tech school, or like a trade school, if you're learning plumbing, you're not taking 16 credits in the humanities. You'll take like a general writing class maybe, and then you're turning wrenches and you're breaking pipes and all this kind of stuff. So that's where tech schools come out ahead because they teach the core concept of just that trade or just that discipline. With college, you are taking a lot of stuff, these general electives. I still think they're helpful in some ways, even if they're not directly applicable to computer science. It helps expand your mind. I believe in the liberal arts. I know some people are going to immediately downvote that statement, but I have more degrees than I know what to do with. I got my first degree when I was 18. I went to college when I was 16. I got my associates when I was 18. And those were all just general studies, from math to humanities to psychology. And it really opened my mind as a teen. Now, if I were to go back to school and go learn that stuff, some of that stuff I'd be like, dude, seriously, how can you teach this? The problem I did have in college was the quality of the instructor. Some of them were just there for the money. And that's what really burns me, is when, knowledge is so powerful, no matter how we chase it or pursue it. But when the person imparting it is just there for financial gain, I'm very turned off by that. I'm very disappointed in that. But what was my point? College does have value, but I think some of these majors are worthless if you're looking at it from a job ready perspective. There's a lot to talk about with that too. Let's go to the comments, and it's 5:40. We'll take another question or comment here. and then we're gonna wrap it up. Corey says, luckily the VA is paying the tuition, otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford it. Yeah, totally, Corey. I maximize my GI Bill for sure. Most coding boot camps aren't GI Bill ready, but some are. Just looking at the comments here. Thank you for the super chat, Ben Riley. I mean, you made it rain in the chat here. So shout out to you. Thanks everyone for showing up. 43 viewers. That's great. That's great. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. I'm just trying to relax. I wasn't going to do a live stream today, but I said, you know what? It's a beautiful day. I'm feeling it. And if I'm feeling it, I'm going to do it. You got to take advantage of when you feel that inspiration. Sammy Turner with the JavaScript action, public static void main. Indeed. Rizwan says, fan from Asia, Pakistan, #old one. Well, welcome again. Thank you for hanging out. Great to see an international crowd here. People from all corners of the world trying to improve their life, learning these skills. Guys, I started learning this stuff in 2017, and I still consider myself, I have a long way to go with so much stuff. I work with code nearly every day, 7 days a week. It's hard for me to turn off work. When I'm not working with code, I'm writing about it, I'm talking about it, or I'm teaching it. And the more you learn, the more you don't know, you know? And it's just, this is a great career field for people who feel bored, in my opinion, because I'm the type of person to just do some things I shouldn't be doing when I'm bored. And I don't want to be doing that. I'm too old for that. This is a type of career field where you can be continuously challenged. You can continuously solve problems. And as someone mentioned in the comments earlier, you can make things to make a difference. It doesn't have to be life-changing. Everything we do impacts our surroundings in one way or another. Whether it's creating your first Hello World application, that is doing something to you. That is putting your mind to work for something greater and something bigger. And this is a process. This is a journey. When I talk to people about learning how to code, learning software development, learning how to program, we talk about the journey. And that does not imply a one-day thing. It doesn't imply a one-month thing. It implies a lifelong thing, a journey. This isn't an adventure. It's also a curse. I never thought I'd be doing this. I never thought I'd be a programmer. I never thought I'd be a developer. I never thought I'd be going like this. I never thought I'd be going like this, thinking about it. Sometimes I wake up, when I was first learning this, I would wake up with running SQL queries in my head. That's when I knew I was screwed. I said, oh man, I got bit. I got bit by the developer bug. I got bit by the programming bug. And knowing that problems are waiting to be solved and we can solve them using this keyboard. Shout out to keyboards, by the way. They're really cool. On that note, I think I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I don't know when the next live stream is going to be. I'm trying to do one a day until we flatten the curve here in the States. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'd like to show you guys this new camera, some videos with that, but I've been really digging these live streams. Shout out to my sister for this hand sanitizer, homemade hand sanitizer with the drug facts, uses, distribution info, and the caution. I mean, what more do you want? We also have all kinds of merch for you JavaScript people, front-end developers. I did it all for the JavaScript. This is my coffee mug of choice. This is one of the many designs over at the CandyScript Teespring store. We have stickers, shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. Hope to see you guys in the Discord. Paradoodly, pop that Discord link in. People can join. Great to see some familiar faces here. Shout out George Meehan. Really enjoy spending time with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Shout out to Oleg. Lots of shout outs in this video. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.